Saturn was discovered by the Cassini spacecraft to be an extremely powerful source of radio emissions. The emitted radio signals are closely linked to the auroras occurring near the planet's poles. These light bands resemble the auroras at Earth's north and south poles. Notably, the Cassini spacecraft also recorded strange sounds emanating from behind Saturn. Today, Viet Co and Euro 404 will join you in exploring the second largest gas giant in the solar system. In the video below, in April 2002, the Cassini spacecraft detected radio emission signals. When the planet was 374 million kilometers away, scientists used radio transmitters and specialized equipment to measure plasma waves. This device has for the first time provided researchers with high-resolution observational images of those emissions. Reveals a series of astonishing changes in both frequency and duration. The frequency spectrum of the complex channel exhibits fluctuations very similar to the radio emissions from Earth's auroras. These structures suggest countless small radio wave sources moving along the magnetic field lines, weaving deep into the auroral region. The time on this board has been shortened. 73 seconds is equivalent to 23 minutes. Because the frequency of these emissions is higher than the audio frequency range, they have been reduced by a factor of 44. Something strange is happening in this small village. Unusual waves in Saturn's rings are revealing mysterious activities within the giant gas planet. Scientists and planetary modeling experts are gradually unraveling this mystery. Here's a fascinating discovery you won't want to miss. According to research and observations, there are billions of debris fragments orbiting within the vast 273,600 kilometers, equivalent to 170,000 miles, belt surrounding Earth. Their primary composition is water ice with a small amount of rock. The bustling rings teem with countless activities, among them waves spiraling outward in whirls. Most waves are formed by the gravitational pull exerted outward by the 62 natural moons orbiting this planet. But then another series of waves came crashing inward. What happened? As you know, most models of Earth and other gas giants are generally assumed by the scientific community too. They are quite similar in structure, consisting of a dense outer shell surrounding a small inner core, and their size is likely comparable to Earth's. But when examining the wavelength of the rings, this picture becomes far more complex. This phenomenon could be caused by some form of disturbance within the rotating mass of Earth itself. Planetary scientist Philip Nicholson from Cornell University in New York shared with Space.com about the 7-year-old salamander. In the 1990s, researchers first detected signs of this disturbance. Nicholson's research team employed a more precise measurement method to comprehensively record the structure of these belt waves. The vibrations within the planet's core reflect a phenomenon similar to earthquakes that occur continuously and cyclically. Even launching a satellite into the atmosphere may not necessarily yield significant results. Because the pig's head can only withstand a maximum pressure of 5 to 10 atmospheres before being cooked or crushed. Nicholson believes that further in-depth research is needed to fully understand this issue. The main idea here is that we already know many stars, including the Sun. They oscillate at a specific frequency, determined by the internal physical structure of that planet or star. Z. Fuller, a researcher at the California Institute of Technology, said she entered the field of astroseismology to explore the oscillations within stars. Nicholson and Hetman jointly chose this planet. It was named Kronos, after a Greek god. Just like Saturn, the Roman god of mythology, who possesses magnificent rings symbolizing unparalleled power. The ring acts as a window to study the internal movements within the planet's core. Currently, NASA's Cassini spacecraft is on a mission to explore Saturn and its natural satellites. Care must be taken to measure the amount of light that each star shines through the rings. Researchers can analyze and determine the density patterns of the ring through waveform. The strong internal vibrations within Saturn create waves, and these patterns are used to study the planet in greater depth. They ever read a 2013 article? Nicholson compiled the wave patterns generated by Saturn. LL noticed the result ISN. He had detected many similar waves but did not observe any others. If Saturn were a giant sphere filled with liquid hydrogen and helium along with gas, each of these harmonics should ideally have only a single frequency. Instead, these parameters are like a violin producing countless jarring sounds when only a single string is plucked. Fuller continued his research to identify the underlying causes of this discord. Saturn must certainly have a deep internal structure arranged in stable layers. This is a new discovery, as the typical model of giant planets only includes a convective gas layer, where materials move freely to exchange heat on their way into their core. But what I discovered were only extremely simple models, which were completely incapable of explaining the phenomena occurring on the racetracks. Fu explained that some people had created these stable layers by simulating every possible scenario and measure the wavelengths it emits. He and the others are eagerly awaiting the answer. This phenomenon can be explained in two different ways. When helium separates from the mixture with hydrogen due to higher pressure, it condenses and settles, forming helium raindrops that fall deeper inward. After that, the boundary between the high-concentration helium region below and the hydrogen region above will become a stable boundary, consistent with the stated observation. Second, ice and rock from the core are melting into the layer of hydrogen and helium above. This process has formed much of the planet's composition. Beneath the turbulent layer of gas above, it will form smooth layers of liquid. In reality, given the aforementioned difficulties, verifying these ideas is unfeasible. TC what? However, thanks to earthquakes, we have been able to roughly visualize the internal structure of the Earth. To this day, it remains quite rudimentary. However, it also brings some interesting prospects. Even the government has acknowledged this. Currently, Euro 404 will share with you the research results that these planetary models have yielded. Pull down the bamboo curtain. New models of the internal structure of gas giant planets will help solve some mysteries, while determining which model best fits their actual dynamics. We primarily anticipate progress grounded in theoretical foundations. Nico's sun is hungry. The Cassini spacecraft is gathering data, unveiling new discoveries with a clearer and deeper perspective. Even when entering the lower orbit, it can still detect subtle changes in the planet's gravitational pull. Currently, Saturn is the planet that allows us to observe the internal structure of a gas giant most clearly, enabling comparisons and contrasts with distant planets orbiting other stars. Exoplanet researchers, such as Jonathan Faulkner from the University of California, Santa Cruz, place high hopes on detecting potential signs that can penetrate the thick gas layers enveloping gas giant planets. Faulkner told Space.com that this is pretty much how humans have been simulating giant planets for the past 50 years. Findings from Saturn's seismology reveal a peculiar region where the deep layers beneath the gaseous shell are far more complex than we imagined. There is no convection phenomenon there. This indicates that Saturn is not a simple object, but rather has other processes occurring within it. Do you admit that studying a rocky planet like Earth is already difficult, but studying a gas giant is many times harder? Saturn is a planet that is difficult to reach. Perhaps R404 and everyone else can only wait for the results from the researchers. It would be amazing if someone here had interesting information about this planet. Even better if those things were shared widely with everyone. Thank you for joining us in this video. Now, I'm Can, representing Group R404, sending our greetings and wishing you all to gain much valuable knowledge. Hello and welcome everyone to our Prophet's Corner. Lately, many of you have often wondered about the sources of information I search for and share. Does the deep web contain this kind of information, Pro? Dear Recode, currently all the materials on our channel are sourced and compiled from popular tools like Google and Facebook, also known as well-known websites. The surface web makes up only 4% of online information but holds a wealth of fascinating knowledge. The remaining 96% of information on the internet belongs to the deep web or dark web. However, this is not an entirely secure search tool. You should be cautious and carefully consider before using these websites, even if you are a professional. When accessing, the risk of compromising your account, data, or security is very high. I hope you all stay alert when searching for information online and gain useful knowledge for yourselves. Thank you for the question from BN Recode and everyone's kind attention. Wishing you all a delicious lunch. Goodbye, and see you again at 10 a.m. tomorrow.